flows beautiful into the other champions. And I think Kalista ban is also good. Anything that just calms the bottom side down.
And I think the thing I like about the Kalista ban is they initially played Kalista on blue side, so counter-picking support's a lot harder. This time they ban it on the red side, so they know if they want to the Kalista, they can get counter-pick support as well. Could really affect the bot lane. But Lilia being banned out kind of raises up the Graves Nidalee prio. If both of those are banned out, then it's looking at something like a Kindred.
What is the biggest prio here when you look at kind of overarching trends? Because it looks like the bot lane, G2 are fine giving Ruler things that he's comfortable on regardless, and that kind of becomes a non-factor in terms of draft at least.
Yeah, I think the current bot meta is kind of docile. It's with the Ashe and the Senna and the Ezreal. You don't have those hyper carries. You're not going to see Ruler bust out like a Twitch that makes like, oh, he's on a timer, he's going to scale. It's just, it's tough to force those crazy matchups.
Yeah, and that's the Graves first pick. With Lilia and Nidalee being down, it's a bit OP. I think AP jungler is what counts as Graves right now, so we'll have to see what Clid wants to pull out. Does he want to pull out something like the Kindred, which we saw a lot in yesterday's series? But I'm looking at ADs here. I think Jhin has looked pretty strong in this series.
Perkz has also looked very good on Jhin. We had some question marks about the bot lane, I think, in general, comparatively to GENG, but that's not been an issue.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, Jhin is something that is always going to be useful, and GENG decided to continue with the path of Twisted Fate. I guess they're just too afraid to give it up, and they felt like the Ornn ban needed to happen. I'm kind of curious why the Ornn ban happens, because if Ornn is up there, it means the top lane is just an island, and you can play into that bottom side, your strength.
So I think two things that might happen here. I mean, Caps can always respond with the Sylas, which I think is really good. The Ornn ban, I think the only reason I can see behind it is they want to play a carry top like the Renekton, like the Camille, and shutting down an Ornn and diving him is a lot harder than having a skill matchup in top. So I think we're definitely looking at the Renekton 3-pick or a Camille 3-pick here. The Kindred does get locked in, and there's the Jhin from Perkz. So they want to run the Sylas? Yes, they do. They're running it back. They have the Graves this time around, so GENG, if they do pick their top laner here, they're playing its top side. Ruler will get banned out a bit with the side of life. We're looking at Ashe, Senna, Ezreal for Ruler here now. But I think picking something like a really strong split pushing top here would be good.
I think the key thing here for GENG is just how do they want to approach the whole Camille situation? Will they ban out the Shen to prepare for the Camille, maybe force a Camille ban, or remove Camille Renekton, the good blind picks, and set up for a 5th pick? Or they just go the other route completely and they just go for the super 5th pick. But I think with Life's champion pool, looking for maybe a Pantheon or something of the kind, I think is also a good approach.
What I found interesting so far in the series is that it seemed like in Game 2 you think, oh, this is a great comp from the side of GENG, and now you would also say it's going in the right direction, but because of the experience that we have from those previous 2 games and kind of the tape, we do want to see something different. So with the Kindred now and the Ezreal, are you seeing something different that should be enough or not, Yamato?
I'm not sure. I feel like Kindred and Ezreal fit that gear and are decent into the Sylas because he wants to, of course, commit, and Kindred love those situations. Just a question of Twisted Fate. Sylas did so well into it the last time, and Twisted Fate forces a situation where they need to make plays on side. I imagine GENG doing well where they just play around those dragons, similar to the first game, where eventually they get on soul point and they force G2 to skirmish in 5v5s.
Yeah, and I think the 2 adaptations I like from GENG here is, first of all, you're playing an AD AP mid-jungle mixed damage into the Sylas. Playing double AP into Sylas, Murktread's first item, it's really difficult to shut him down. And I also like the Pantheon ban, you know, shutting down the globals. If Caps was to take away the TF ult, they have the Pantheon on top of that, and Mickey X's Pantheon in Game 1 looked super, super good.
I think the question mark for me here is just, I want G2 to pick a ranged top lane. You want to pick as many ranged champions into the Kindred as possible, but the other flip side of that is tough to play that into Twisted Fate. Like, imagine a Cannon is something that I would have loved, but the Sion matchup makes the top matchup really good for them. They could just lock in Shen here.
But I just don't think the Sion is what you need here. If you're going to play TF, you're playing over sides. If you're playing a 1-4 comp with TF, it doesn't make much sense.
And Ezreal's bot.
Exactly, and Ezreal's bot, so you don't have too much playmaking. I like this adaptation slightly more. I don't think Ezreal time is that good of a lane. They're going to get a really good counter pick on support here. But Wunder's going to have to blind, so maybe he's the one who picks up the Sion, because something defensive into the TF means you can't shut him down. But I think the Tam Kench is good because you have the Tam ult now, you have the TF ult now. You have to round that out with some kind of split pushing damage.
And we have to just see if they can use their globals as effectively as G2 has in the past, because as you say, Yamato, the map movements, the play on the lanes, as well as adjusting to what's happening on the map is what we want to see out of GENG. And they've got a couple of tools there, and their Renekton comes out.
Now I wonder if the Volibear is going to come out. It's the most common response to Renekton. I like the fact that Wunder is showing he's the alpha here. I'm taking the Renekton. You can pick the TF. We're going to play into topside. So yeah, the Volibear response is the most likely thing to come out.
Yeah, Rascal has picked it up a couple of times in group stage as well. Very comfortable on the champion, and especially in this matchup, we've got the comps rounded out and some different looks coming out of both sides. Yamato, what is your final judgment on the draft on both sides?
Honestly, I like what GENG brought to the table. I think with the Twisted Fate and the Kindred, I think locking in Sylas and Renekton gives those champions like Kindred so much value. I think G2 really need to be the ones engaging into an Ezreal TF Kindred, which is going to be super hard in the 5v5s. And I think the idea of the game is very streamlined, just playing to the top side, which I like less. But Ruler, his Ezreal is very, very good. I think this is the best GENG draft we saw so far.
I think GENG swapped it up. They're not playing it to bot anymore. They have Ezreal Tam. That's a very safe farming lane. I think playing it to top side is what you're looking at here. I think the Volibear does win into the Renekton, especially with the TF ult. So if G2 don't find a way to shut this down, or they don't really find a way to win the 3v3 top side, I think they're going to struggle, and GENG could pick up this game.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We can also not forget that this is match point for G2. Only one win needed, but we learned yesterday that that isn't always enough. GENG stepping onto the Rift with a strong draft and big chances in this game. We're going to see the coaches. Oh, it was fist bump this time. I love it. A little bit of a change in the meta there for the coaches. And with that, yeah, is anyone going to do a joke where they try and fall in the water? I hope so. Anyway, the teams are loading onto the Rift, so let's send it over to Medic and Vedius for Game 3.
Thank you very much, Shox. Possibly the final game of World's quarterfinals, Vedius. Very different compositions from both teams here. As Yamato said, it feels like GENG are deciding to leave Ruler a little bit more alone in this game and play towards the top side of the map instead.
I mean, I think you can. What we've seen from Ruler and Life in these early game 2v2s is that they've been quite good.
Yeah.
So I think that just giving them the freedom to be a little bit more on the weak side, like playing a little bit more defensively. We'll see how they manage. This is a very defensive bot lane. You know, Ezreal plus the Tahm Kench, obviously a very difficult one to kill. And I love what the analyst desk was saying. I think that for GENG, it's kind of like, okay, so they have the ability to play through topside, which, to be fair, they did a fair amount during the group stage, and they've also been very good at. I think the Rascal is strong towards the top side. I'm having a look right now.
Okay, no, Mickey's jumped the wall. Mickey's jumped the wall. We used to see Fnatic do this all the time. Hylissang, he sneaks behind people. BDD won't have heard that sound that we heard as Mickey jumped over the wall, and now Mickey can just flank over there, wait for the W cooldown. It will be about 3 seconds off now, I think. Played a bunch of Rakan last night in Clash, so here he goes. They're gonna step forward, immediately forces the flash out of BDD.
That's 3 different level 1s we've now seen from G2, and 3 different flashes that they've burnt. In game 1, it was Rascal. In game 2, it was Life. And now in game 3, it is BDD. So, good stuff from G2. I love all this level 1 innovation that we have been seeing. And it's going to pay off, because the fact that you lose your flash this early on leaves you very susceptible to ganks. While Grey is not considered the strongest ganking jungler, the great thing about Sylas is you do have good setup with your E, so we'll have to see how things pan out.
I saw yesterday Nemesis lose his flash early on the Twisted Fate in game 5, and he was repeat ganked. Died 3 times, I think, before the 15-minute mark in this game. Jankos has the opportunity to try and put BDD behind. But BDD, he showed us in game 1 just how safe he can play, how much he respects where the enemy jungler can be. He will be pretty wary of stepping up towards Caps and Jankos.
Let's follow the junglers now very quickly, because you can see that Klid's immediately moving over towards the enemy blue. They put a very early ward there to see where Jankos was starting. The question is, will Jankos read the play? He's actually going to start up his wolves, so he's going to have no idea that this is happening. And Klid should be able to walk away with this one completely free. Jankos can be caught with his pants down there. Not going to realize that that still has happened. Klid may even go for a bit of a cheeky play here.
He's got the advantage. Smite came down. It was secured by Jankos. You can see because he's on 12 CS. Klid forced away just a little bit, but Wolf will make a Jankos have to retreat out of his jungle. Now Klid can steal away the Gromp. Ruler diving forward has used that E, but no level 2 for G2's bot lane means they cannot answer the pressure of Ruler dashing in. Jankos coming all the way around for the Gromp. Doesn't have his smite, but nor does Klid. Klid quite low. Wonder working his way down from the top lane, and as the Gromp resets, Jankos will be happy to get it, but sad that it ran out of patience.
Jankos also going to lose his blue buff, but overall, GENG off to a very good start in the laning phase, early level 2 in the bot lane. You can see that BDD has reclaimed some pressure because of the range advantage he does have over Caps, and Klid is going to be able to triple buff Jankos as well. So all in all, good stuff for GENG, but this should come as no surprise. I think that we've seen pretty much consistently throughout this series, their early laning phase has been the better of the 2 teams. The problem is they haven't really been able to convert this into a significant advantage come the mid-game, and even with these small leads that they accrue, they don't really snowball off the back of them. So we'll have to see once BDD hits level 6, will he look for a play somewhere on the map?
Bit unfortunate for Clid as well that the mark spawned on the top Scuttle Crab instead of the bottom Scuttle Crab, so he's not off to the races in terms of those Kindred marks. Of course, 4 gets you that extra 75 attack range. Makes you just so much more powerful on that champion. Cap's working his way up towards top lane. Rascal giving Wonder a little bit of respect, backing away, trying to use the E to clear out the minions. And looks like Jankos just going to settle to take away these Krugs, and Caps, he's kind of hovering. He's working out if he wants to go back towards mid as the wave gets pushed in. He will go and catch those minions. But Rascal has spotted out Jankos. Jankos doesn't have Smite. Going to look to take these Krugs. Rascal with the Thundering Roar could get the stun, but just forces Jankos away from the Krugs and will take them for himself.
He knows that a wave is pushing in towards top side. There's no point trying to contest that wave for the time being, so you're better off just getting that last bit of farm and then going to go catch the wave top. This will give Wonder the opportunity to do a very quick base. He won't have to expend his TP. He can actually just walk back to lane. But look at Kindred. Ooh, I thought that he may be looking for a bit of a play towards bot side because... So the thing is, Clid knew that Jankos was top side, which means that because he's already here, the delayed reset was going to come through. But he decided to not commit to that play, and for now, Jankos actually has a bit of a level advantage over Clid.
Just farming up those small camps as soon as they respawn. He's on his Razor Beaks, but's been spotted out on a ward. We are getting towards that level 6 mark that you talked about, Bedias. BDD 5 at the moment. Life going in. Here's the TB, and Life may be overstepped, flashes away, but the teleport coming in from Gaps looks for the chase. Dives forward, can't quite get the damage. The thick skin comes out from Life, but Life hit with a dancing grenade, and G2 are dancing all the way to the bank with that kill.
The level 5 teleport from Caps into bot lane. You don't expect that. It feels like that it was quite the bait coming out from G2. Because I was curious as to why Perkz was backing when he still had 1 health pot left. I thought that, you know, he could probably stick around in lane for a little bit longer. I think he actually needed a little bit more gold for that BF sword, but maybe it was a bait. Maybe it wasn't. I'm not entirely sure, but all I know is that he was recalling on a ward, and Life wanted to try and interrupt, and then that was just call for the opportunity for G2 to commit to that play. Caps isn't going to lose much off the back of it, except for a bit of farm, and now Jankos has found Clid.
Trading onto Clid, Rascal's worked his way down here as well. Jankos does have flash, may have to use it across this wall as Caps dives onto BDD. Level 6 for Caps, only level 5 for the mid laner from GENG as G2 step back into the mid lane. GENG going to retreat, push their way back. Life, of course, no flash as he burned it earlier on. Just going to stay near Clid to try and re-secure some of this jungle, but G2 are stepping in and will take the Razor Beaks for their own.
So this is some of the good and common jungle support synergy that we often see from G2. Mickey now roaming with Caps, already looking for a dive in the top lane. Twisted Fate ult to answer.
Destiny coming out, TP as well. GENG gonna get dived underneath the tower. Rascal's already down, Mickey takes the kill, but Life is here, Clid is here. Wonder trying to get away. It's a 3v2 in favor of G2 right now, but GENG are answering back. Mickey stunned up. We'll have the battle dance, still stunned with the gold card. BDD on the chase. GENG still trying to push forward here as they TP in. Caps dives back into the fight. Life eats up Clid. Wonder's going to flash away. Slice and Dice won't get him the range that he needs, and Rascal's actually looking for both of them at the same time. The stun card connects onto Wonder, and GENG will get a kill.
So what surprises me is that G2 were able to get away with what they did. They only end up losing 1 member there, but think about what that cost them. BDD had to use his teleport. I think Ruler even... Did he burn his flash in that play, or was that in the play in the bot lane? Because for some reason, he does not have his flash, and I don't remember him burning it. In any case, like, the fact that so much was expended, and G2 end up getting a 1-for-1 overall, I think G2's pretty happy with that, and now they're still looking for Clid. Caps is not done with his rogues.
Yeah, Clid actually still only level 4 on this Kindred. And was able to get an assist in that last fight. You can see he's only a single jungle item. They go for the dive early on.
And I love that he steals away the Volibear ultimate to make this dive that much easier. And I think that G2's thinking they can actually turn this. And if it weren't for the TP here from BDD, I think G2 would have committed to the fight. But BDD does join. Mickey then flashes, uses its E, uses the second E. And then looks like they're going to re-engage because he's only level 4. But this is then the power of the Tahm Kench keeping the Kindred alive, which buys enough time for Rascal to join the fray. But expending both ultimates to just get a single kill on the top side, I think is a lot invested, which then makes things easier for G2 in the bot side of the map.
So the reason BDD had to teleport to that play was because he destinied bot lane, and they were trying to kill Perkz. Ruler flashed forward, Perkz healed and didn't die. So that's where the investment went.
I did wonder why he didn't actually use it top lane.
Yes. He went down towards the bottom lane. Jankos now has a flank position, level 6. GENG, a little bit underneath their tower.
So we just talked about it. No teleports, no Destiny.
That control ward was outside of the bush, so they don't know that Jankos is waiting, and Caps comes in with a Destiny of his own. He has a date with the semi-finals, and G2 take 2 in the bottom lane.
Oh my word, G2 using BDD's ult against him, being able to set up that dive, and it's just a good punish, because we talked already about the lack of teleports. GENG can't respond to this play. The only thing GENG can do is sack that farm, and they decided not to do it. They can't respond. G2 sent 5 people bot lane, and sure, Caps is down like 20 CS. He is behind in experience, but the benefits that his team are getting off the back of these roams is just huge for G2.
I mean, you just have to look at his performance in the first game as well. Had such a stellar, in the second game, sorry, such a stellar performance on that side. So now that control ward is not in the bush, Vedius.
You talked about it, Medic. He does not spot him out. I think the TP from Wonder wasn't really necessary, but hey, he wants to get involved in the action as well. I think he also recognizes that he is on the weak side of the map, so why not invest the TP under the risk of potentially getting dived? Is able to avoid it. It means that G2 now get themselves to a 2k gold advantage.
GENG will secure the Rift Herald in the top side of the map. They are trading sides of the map with G2. As the Dragon was taken by G2, it's only a mountain. 2,000 gold lead, though, for the LEC representatives. Ruler and Life have switched their way back up to this top lane. And Life is actually a little bit behind in this lane. Now, he has been dived a couple of times by G2, which will cost you a little bit. But even in the previous games, you know, he was getting a CS lead or getting a few kills, and you could kind of rely on Ruler to be a carry in the later portion of the game. Here, this Ezreal is going to take just that little bit more time to scale up.
Yes, he certainly is, Medic. You just look at the difference in itemization between the 280 carries. Perkz already well on his way to the Storm Raise, and now G2 found another skirmish.
Here's the Destiny, though, and Jankos and Wonder need to get out of this because the stun card from BDD locks up Wonder. The Dominus has been popped. Clint still has the Lamb's Respite, and now GENG are going to turn onto Jankos, who tries to dash away. Caps coming in. Stun card once again from BDD. The Stormbringer comes down onto the base of Jankos, and that's 2 quick kills for GENG. They're looking for more of his. Caps tries to trade in a 3v1. He's stolen away a Lamb's Respite of his own. Will pop it down immediately, but look at the healing this is giving over to GENG as well. Caps in a 1v3 can do nothing. GENG find 3 in the bottom river.
And this was a much-needed skirmish for GENG. They needed to slow down the snowball that G2 was starting to mount. They get a huge punish in the river, and BDD is able to get a good ultimate off on the Twisted Fate. Huge punish. They're going to close the gold gap. Clit is going to get a mark. He's finally going to hit level 7. And this is a big deal for GENG.
Yeah, BDD now 3-0-1 on this Twisted Fate. The Rod of Ages will be complete when he backs, and you can see GENG are very ready to take the fight against G2.
So in the 2 versus 2, this is actually fine. But of course, it's not a 2 versus 2, it's a 3 versus 2 because of the good ultimate there from BDD. And I think that what they wanted to do was force Clit to use his ultimate so that there's enough time for Caps to join the fray, but they weren't able to make it happen, and Rascal walks away with his life. He's also going to get a bit of health back. Very well done from the GENG trio.
Keeps that gold within about 500 between the two teams. Wonder's going to tank up a couple of tower shots in the bottom lane as he walks away from this wave. Plates still very much on the menu for the next 2 minutes here, Vedia. So if Wonder decides against pushing in, doesn't know where Clit is, doesn't know where Rascal is, so doesn't want to overstep, and BDD's Destiny is actually almost half the way off cooldown, over half the way off cooldown, Vedia.
I was just about to mention that Mickey just upgraded his support item, and I noticed that Life hadn't yet, so I thought we were going to see a big vision difference there, but fortunately for Life, just as he's resetting, was able to get that upgrade as well, which means that both supports on the map. And now we should expect to see a lot more roaming from both Mickey and Life. We already saw them getting involved in the action. You can see that the kill participation for Mickey is 4 out of 4, so he's been very important in setting up a lot of these plays for the team. But let's see where he looks to set up his vision. Right now, it's the top side for G2.
And you get to this point of the game sometimes, Vedius, and it's like, well, there's no Rift Herald, there's no Dragon, there are plates to play around, but do you really need to be looking for a fight at this point as either of these two teams?
Well, if you're G2, probably.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, they just enjoy fighting, but like, is there something that they should be fighting over specifically?
Well, so I think that if you can get more plates, as you mentioned, like, yes, but I think the bigger thing is actually enemy jungle vision control. And I was just about to bring up this red buff that's on our screen, because denying enemy farm, denying enemy experience is very important. So we see a bit of a skirmish on top there. Jankos is getting out, though.
Jankos is out, Perkz on his way as well, has to flash away. BDD, the Ghost gets the stun card onto Mickey, and here comes the Abyssal Voyage. Life and Clit on the chase for Perkz here. He uses heal to try and get the extra movement speed. True Shot Barrage is going to connect, but not too much more damage. Mickey dances over the wall. And in the end, G2 get out, but GENG are the ones to chase them out of there.
I like the response here from GENG. They recognized what G2 was trying to do and they shut them down. No red buff will be lost. No camps will be stolen, and they're even able to get a bunch of plates. So GENG doing a great job of slowing down the aggression. G2 were at a 2k gold advantage, and GENG have been able to bring it back to equal. And BDD on this Twisted Fate having a much better performance. Game 1 he wasn't really, or Game 2 rather, he wasn't really able to have much impact on this Twisted Fate, but getting involved in that river fight, countering this player towards the top side, you could feel that Twisted Fate being much more impactful.
Very experienced player, BDD, of course, and as you say, now he's got the Sheen, the Rod of Ages stacking up. We are looking to get into these side lanes and really help GENG get back into this series, because they're currently 2-0 down. Last time they came to Worlds in 2018, Vedius, it was a dire performance for them. 1-5 in the group stages. Ruler maybe caught out here. Mickey does have the quickness, but and Ezreal is a very difficult target to lock down. And GENG, I think, topping their group was a degree of redemption for this organization. And now the question is, like, a loss to G2 in a quick 3-0 would feel pretty demoralizing, I think. But maybe if they can start fighting back, then they can make their way back towards the finals. The organization, world champions twice, finalists once. And every time they've made it out of groups, they've made it to the finals, Vedi.
Yeah. However, Jankos also has a bit of a legacy of his own. Every time he has gone to Worlds, the lowest he's gotten is a semi-finals. You know, 2 semi-finals, 1 World Final. Internationally, Jankos has quite the record, and one of those records is going to be broken today. Right now, G2 is, of course, set up for success. But we've seen reverse sweeps before. One, but we saw it. I
mean, I closed my eyes a lot at the end, to be honest.
But we'll see how GENG are able to bounce back. If they can, of course, the game is very even. They've done a great job. And right now, they're kind of getting that Drake fight that they've wanted for this whole series. G2 has had a habit of just trading on the other side of the map. They've not really ever gone for it, and they've avoided fighting GENG as much as possible, but they might not get that opportunity.
Gold card coming out with the charm, unable to find BDD. Clid now diving in, he's charmed immediately. Lamb's Jetspike comes down just in time. Clid able to save his life. BDD going in with the Sun card once again onto Jankos, but Clid, look at how low he is. Wonder slices and dices up GENG. 2 quick kills to G2, and Rascal is running for the hills, but the Stormbringer is brought down.
And it's Clid that gets caught out, and at the moment it looks like he's about to get away. The Crocodile comes in from down south and tears them apart. Caps almost loses his life, but he is dancing on the edge of death as Ruler is looking to get something back for GENG. That gold lead once again mounts for G2. They'll secure the second Drake. They'll secure the mid-tier 1. And G2 looking to continue that title of being the LCK killers. 3k gold lead now, looking to 3-0. Still a long way left to end out this game, but they are looking dominant.
12-6 all time before this series versus LCK teams. Now 14-6, looking to make it 15.
So here, Clid coming in from the flank. The last tick of the charm from Mickey catches Clid out, and then the positioning of BDD is very awkward. He realizes the Rascal's coming in, but this is the important part. Wonder on the flank. Like, GENG were just uncoordinated, and huge props to Mickey for finding
Clid's
that
out
pick.
again.
Clid is caught once more. Caps gets himself some more pages in the book, and GENG is starting to fall apart, Medic. They're getting caught left, right, and center. These team fights are not coming the way that they want them, and Mickey,
who's looking for the chase, can just dance back to Caps here. I will say, anyone else who goes to the library that Caps frequents will be very sad, because he keeps loaning out this darn book,
yes,
Vedius.
he does.
Week after week, he's getting it. 8 pages in it this time. The Rift Herald available for G2 if they want to play around this top side of the map. And we did talk about, you know, BDD and Ruler's pedigree and Jankos' pedigree. Caps, he's on track to make his 3rd consecutive World Finals. Made it with Fnatic in 2018, made it with G2 in 2019. Of course, he would have to go through Damwon in the semi-finals still, but he would join only 3 other players on that record. Faker, Bang, and Wolf.
Yep.
What company to be in.
Caps. I think it's pretty interesting when you think about Caps as a player and how he's kind of in that conversation for the best Western player of all time. Like, there's often been a debate between him and Perks, you know, in terms of their successes since they joined the league, what they've been able to achieve, but no one ever really thought that they would join together to form Europe's super team that has brought their first international title last year for MSI since they since Season 1 Worlds. And
I appreciate the discussion between Perkz and Caps, but when I look at it objectively, Caps won 2018 Summer Spring, went to Finals of Worlds. 2019 Summer Spring, went to Finals of Worlds. 2020 Summer and Spring. He has been in the league for 4 years, has 6 domestic titles and 2 World Championships and an MSI title under his belt. Like, he is the best Western player of all time, in my opinion.
I mean, I think it's a fair argument, Fennec. Yeah, I think it's a very fair argument. And I think that he's having a very impressive series. But you also have to give credit to Perkz.
Yeah, no, he's a great player as well.
It's unfortunately for G2, they did handpick the best European players outside of perhaps Reckless, who did have a very impressive performance yesterday. Now, while there are many star players on G2, we're kind of looking at the star players now for GENG to really step up. Of course, Ruler is behind, but he is on one of his most well-known champions, and we've seen him carry before. Yes, they are at a deficit, but the deficit isn't so monumental that there's no way for them to come back from this. So I'm looking at players like BDD, like Ruler, and Clid needs to stop getting caught out, because twice now we've seen 2 very serious consequences that have paid off heavily in G2's favor.
Yeah, look at where you are in terms of itemization for GENG. You've got Rod of Ages almost fully stacked and a Lich Bane for BDD. He is very strong for this next Infernal fight in a minute and a half. Also, Ruler now has the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Manamune stacking up, so he has the ability to self-heal and also provide more zone control when they look forward for these fights. BDD stepping in.
Jankos just stole the blue there with the ultimate.
I mean, that's a little bit rude.
Yeah, that is a little bit rude, yes.
But for the moment, not going to progress any further. You can see Mickey actually very isolated here. The vision control from G2 is helping him be a little bit more aggressive than perhaps he should, because GENG do not know that no one is behind him. But if they dived on him there, I'm pretty sure Mickey would have been an easy kill to pick up.
Well, I really like this vision that's been set up from G2, and the resets are coming through at just the right time. They know the Drake is spawning soon, they're replenishing the control wards, they're replenishing the wards for Mickey as well, and they haven't put really deep wards in, but what they've done is they've set up this trio of vision around the entrances, around the choke points, because it's really that's the only part that you care about. As they're entering towards the river, you want to find those picks at that point in time. Now that they've replenished that vision, GENG has to invest their own vision in order to just clear this out, which gives G2 full control over the river.
Oh, Perkz caught out here as life goes forward. Destiny coming in. GENG have found their opportunity, but the Captain Jack from Perkz gets him out alive, and Mickey dives in with the quickness to save his AD carry. Jankos now on the front line as the curtains come in. Lamb's Respite used by Clid, but he has been abandoned by his team. Flashes over the wall, but Wonder will slice and dice him up for dinner. G2 get another kill, and they turn their eyes towards the Dragon.
That was supposed to be a mistake. That was supposed to be Perkz getting caught out of position and GENG's window to get back into this game. But Mickey keeps doing Mickey X things. How does he find these windows to keep his AD carry alive? The 3-man taunt onto the backline to buy time and separate Clid from his team was exactly what Perkz needed to get out of harm's way and allow G2 to find the pick, find the Drake, and get a little bit more damage. And now the gold lead is only continuing to balloon.
Yeah, now it's Infernal Soul point for G2 in 4.5 minutes time. BDD looking up towards the top lane. Jankos gonna spot him. Caps dives in the smoke screen. BDD just had no opportunity, had no knowledge that anyone was waiting for him. Jankos lets out a little chuckle, and he might be laughing his way all the way to semi-finals here, Vedius.
He missed his ultimate. That's why he's laughing. He told Caps to shut up and stop looking at it. He got the kill, and that's all that matters. Caps now may be isolated. Ruler, Life, and Clid are all looking for the collapse. Things are really starting to fall apart here for GENG as member after member keeps getting caught out. We talked about some of these stars that we need to see step up. BDD, his use of the ultimate in the mid lane was good, but it didn't result in anything. Ruler still not at a point where he can really carry on this Ezreal, and GENG, they're not getting these team fights that they want. They need to try to slow the game down, wait for that next Infernal, try and get as many items as they can before going for that last-ditch fight, because that could be their last fight of the tournament. They need to make every play count.
And with Caps and Jankos pushing in the top lane, working as a duo, what we have lacked from GENG, we have seen from G2, that ability to create pressure in a side lane, to work jungle and mid together, and manage to play around vision from your opponents. Mickey here is all on his lonesome once again. The Abyssal Void used by Life just in case someone was backing up Mickey. And he's just a nuisance. He's a pest more than anything else. Life, once again, stepping forward. There's the knock-up. Smoke screen's been used by Jankos already, and Life is chunked down to half HP. Deadly Flourish is going to connect as well as G2 look to push in, gain this mid-pressure. Look at the TP behind them. The Rascal on a great flank position here in GENG. They want the fight right now. BDD with the Destiny will get away. And perhaps they've caught out Perks on the back line. But here comes Mickey once again. Storm bring it in from Rascal. Takes one. Mickey's going to fall shortly after he dances back. Rascal gets a double. The volley bear ripping G2 asunder with his claws. That's 3 for Rascal, and GENG have found the fight they were looking for. Counts would have to do something incredible to turn this one around as Wonder dives in. Counts can't get in there as well. That's 4 for GENG. And Betty, you said it might be their last fight of the tournament. Well, they are darn well fighting back.
They certainly are, Medic. Beautiful team fight for GENG. 5 members still alive with only Caps left standing. He's a good player, but I don't know if he can 1v5 this. There's no ultimates left to steal. Ruler's going to keep him zoned out of the pit. No TPs left available. He's going to have to go back to base. GENG are not out of worlds just yet.
With the Baron secure, GENG will equalize that gold. Only 1,000 between the two teams now, and you can see this flank TP from Rascal.
It looked like BDD was going to get collapsed on, but it ends up being Perks. He gets chunked out, and then look at Rascal on the back line. Rips apart the Jin, focuses down Jankos and Caps. He just can't get involved. He's being kept at arm's length. And then Rascal staying alive at the very end with the help of Life. Extremely well-played fight from GENG, utilizing the strength of their comp, and this was the team fight that they've been looking for all series long. 4 for 1.
I don't know if that was at the start of the team fight or the end of the team fight.
That was a pretty good team fight. Why are you upset? This is great for GENG.
And you can see Ruler really popping off in that fight. 4,000 damage on the Ezreal. Didn't pick up a single kill, but that sometimes the scoreboard can betray the skill of the players. We'll see how much GENG can do with this Red Bull Baron power play.
Now, the next most important thing is going to be this fight at the Drake. It is the sole point for G2 Esports, and GENG do not want to give it up. Ruler is getting stronger. He was one of the stars that we talked about that needed to step up, and he's doing just that. Both teams looking at each other dead in the eye, grouping up in the mid lane, side lane pushing for G2 in the bot side. GENG have it pushing in top.
Ruler doesn't have Death's Dance yet, Vedius. That item could change a fight.
A lot of damage onto Perks. GENG feeling very confident right now. Perks does have his summoner spells up, which is going to be very important for the next fight. But Rascal very tanky right now. I like this positioning from GENG. They're keeping the priority up in mid. They're making it harder for G2 to maintain control over the river, but you can see that GENG having to walk through Fog of War.
No vision. Mickey looking for the flank, puts down a control ward. BDD pushing in mid, has the Destiny to join his team if a fight really starts. Rascal's going to go around and clear out this vision from G2, make it so that Mickey can't get the flank position, tries to dive in, can't land onto Rascal. Walks out, the control ward cleared. Caps spotted with the Destiny. BDD still pushing in mid. Caps alone towards the back of the pit. The Destiny comes in for BDD, and Caps is on the blast cone, tries to get over the wall, just about survives. GENG collapse, and now the Infernal Dragon, the target. Click's going to dive in. There's the quickness, the Stormbringer. GENG looking to turn this fight around as they go for the Infernal, but it's taken by Jankos, it's taken by G2, and they'll take a kill to top it off. Wonder down, Rascal down, the TP coming in from Caps as GENG are on the wrong side of the rift. Here comes Caps, GLP for the slow, cleared. BDD locks in the stun card and smashes it straight at Caps. And now GENG backing away once again. There's an Infernal Soul ticking away on G2. Ruler, full HP, almost full mana. Caps uses the Lamb's Respite, trying to hit him up, but Perks flashes forward and snipes out cleared, and that's no Lamb's Respite. Up for GENG. Caps goes golden. Ruler's still alive though. Diving in. He jumps away. He flashes the wall. BDD able to flash away as well, and Ruler's doing so much work in this fight. He's holding, kicking and screaming as G2 try and knock GENG out of Worlds.
Ruler is doing everything in his power to keep GENG alive in this game. While they will not fall, they will lose the Infernal Drake. Ruler showcasing why he is a world-class player. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. Let's have a look back at this fight. The Lamb's Respite comes out to keep the Dragon alive. But it's Jankos that gets the smite, and the auto is cleared, actually jumps out. I don't know if his smite was on cooldown there, as he may have had to use it to keep his health alive. Of course, life goes in. He then gets caught out
Oh, there's a fight, there's a fight, there's a fight. Bring us back to the action. Rascal devoured up. Life maybe overstepped here. Wonder diving in. Look for Clay, looking for Rascal. Can't quite find them. Sorelli is used by G2. The curtains are opened. And G2 are looking for the final act of this play. Stormbringer in from Caps, destroys the turret and dives back in. Kingslayer's going to keep him alive for the moment, but look at the damage that Ruler can do already. 3 down. G2 rip GENG asunder. And now they are looking for the win. Infernal Soul still on them. The inhibitor tower down. And amongst the wrecks of the LEC, amongst the wrecks of the LCS, G2 stand tall for the West. They are carrying the hopes of Europe on their shoulders. They are looking to be the LCK killers once again. Ruler and Clid have to do something miraculous to defend. It looks like G2 will back away. The minions cleared out. And for the moment, G2 will retreat.
With Ruler still alive and perhaps the re-engage from GENG, they're going in.
Flashes forward, exhaust perks. Click gets knocked up. Yanko's trying to do what he can. Ruler still doing some damage. Wonder. Blast goes in. Looks for Ruler. Can't get the stun. Does get the stun. Still dead before he can slice and dice his way through the enemy AD carry. And now GENG are TPing in. They're looking for more. They're looking for the TPs. The BDD coming in from the back. Yanko's forced away. GENG, Rascal flashes forward straight in. Mickey trying to survive. BDD gets the shutdown on perks. Mickey's going to dive back onto Yankos. Where is Caps? You always have to look for him in a fight like this. He's looking for the flank position. Rascal still stepping forward. Caps has a flank. Who's he looking for? Ruler's alive. Stormbringer used by Rascal. Dives in, but he doesn't get the tower deactivated, and so he can't step any further. Caps couldn't find the flank, and GENG, holy moly, they are landing punch after punch in this game.
Right, Medic, you take a second to breathe. I'll take it from here as wow. What a back and forth between the two teams. The game looks done and dusted. G2 won a team fight in the mid lane and they were looking to end. But as long as Ruler doesn't die, GENG still have a chance. They even re-engaged onto G2. They were looking to get a couple kills, couple shutdowns, a little bit more golden experience in their back pocket, and it was worth it. The Baron is now alive, and this could very well be the fight that decides the game. GENG still very much in it. A lot of powerful items have come through. G2, though, they have the wave constantly pushing in mid. They're looking to push a wave up in top. Mickey gonna take a little bit of damage.
Perks is not with the team. He's in mid lane.
Medic, you rehydrate. There's gonna be another huge fight. You're gonna need your voice for it. GENG, they're gonna secure themselves the mid tier 2. Things are starting to calm down a little bit as the tension starts to rise once more. Top and bot pushing in favor of G2. G2 just have to wait, but they're not going to. They're going to go in.
Mickey BDD's almost dead already. The Devour comes out. His life tries to keep him alive. Rascal trying to get onto the back line. The Ram's spit used by Life. Rascal dived on. Quickness being used as well. Rascal doesn't have anyone to help him. Doesn't have anywhere to go. He's down. Caps used the Lamb spit to keep himself alive. Yanko's on the chase. Clid has died. Life has died. G2 have done it. GENG, unless Ruler and BDD can pull a rabbit out of a hat, they are done. The deadly flourish connects. BDD goes down. G2, 4 for none, and now they're pushing for the win.
Only Ruler is left standing to keep the hopes of GENG alive. The star of this team has the weight of his team on his back, and I don't know if he can do it. He's going to TP back into the base, but he's 1 versus 5. I don't know if he can hold the line. G2 looking to end.
G2, they don't want Ruler to survive, and he will fall. Life up in 5, but it's too little too late. G2 will carry the hopes of the West into the semi-finals. They will carry the hopes of Europe into a showdown against Down1 Gaming after they're done demolishing GENG on their fountain.
G2 end up with the 3-0 over GENG. There were a lot of question marks about their performance after the group stages, but after good prep, good execution, they showed up on today's best of 5 and demolished GENG. We heard it from the analysts. It felt like that in Game 3, GENG got the best draft that they've gotten of the day, something that's comfortable for them, something that they can perform on, and I think that we saw the best of them. We saw some great fights, we saw some great punishes, and we really got to see how talented of a player Ruler really is, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough, and G2 came out on top. fantastic performances from so many different members, but Mickey and Caps will really stand out throughout this series.
Mickey's been a standout through the entirety of Worlds.
Oh, they're gonna throw him in the
Oh
water!
no, they throw him in! He can't swim! Okay.
Oh, that was close.
That's a big drop as well.
That's very deep,
great,
guys. Careful, careful.
I feel a bit sorry for Gen G having to wait while they did that. But yeah, obviously commiserations to Gen G. I think they did redeem themselves a little bit in the group stage after going 1-5 last time they were at Worlds.
Sure.
Managing to go 5-1, you know, taking games off Fnatic, 2-0ing TSM. They had a really good performance. But here, on the day, it just felt like G2 were that little bit more coordinated and that little bit better prepared for some of these drops.
Yeah.